having 0 followers behind them. Literally no one who accepted the message. When it comes to Prophet ﷺ, he would be, this is why one of the hadith that is often quoted on the occasion of marriages that you might have heard, and this is the hadith from Rasulullah ﷺ. One of the objectives of marriage, of course, is to have family life. So Prophet ﷺ said in the hadith, which often scholars, when they conduct marriage, they recite this. And what is that hadith? تزوجوا الودود الولود فإني مكاثر بكم الأمم يوم القيامة. Marry those individuals, husbands and wives, both spouses, both ways, who are interested in having a family life and to have children and to grow in that sense. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned that in this hadith, one of the reasons for that, he said, فَإِنِّي مُكَاثِرٌ بِكُمْ الْأُمَمْ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ, because I would like to have the maximum followers of mine on the day of judgment. And that's not the only reason, by the way, but this is one of the reasons that Prophet ﷺ mentioned. But because of the pragmatism and practicality and reasonable nature of our deen and the authenticity of it, that it has gained wide acceptance and popularity in a very short period of time. Therefore, the one and only Nabi who will have the largest following on the day of judgment will be Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this even will happen here in the dunya. We are not too far behind from the Catholics. They say by 2050, Islam will be the number one religion in the world in terms of its followers. So the point I'm trying to make in light of these facts is, number one, to appreciate what Allah has blessed us with. It is something that all of us sitting here have never asked for it, never struggled for it, never sacrificed anything for it. It is something that Allah has blessed us with out of His sheer mercy and bounty. And therefore, we say, Alhamdulillah alladhi hadana li hadha. This is something that we have in the Quran, that all praise and thanks is to Allah who has guided us to this. And then Quran also says, Alhamdulillah alladhi hadana li hadha wa ma kunna linahtadiya lawla an hadana Allah. It would have not been possible for us on our own to discover this faith. This is why when some of the tabi'un, the followers of the Sahaba, not the followers of the Prophet ﷺ directly, his companions, or their followers that are known as tabi'in, when they heard of the honor, seeing the Prophet ﷺ being in his companionship and benefiting from him directly and sitting in his presence, it is something that nothing can equate that, nothing can replace that. So they express their wish, as it comes in some of the riwayat narrations that Imam Ahmad rahimahullah, that I think he heard someone saying this, I wish I were to be in the time of Prophet ﷺ. So he objected, admonished the person and said, do not wish something that Allah has put you in a different state other than what you have decided for yourself. Do not wish for something that might have not been best for you, because Allah knows what is best for us. Allah knows what is best for us. It is not wrong or haram to express such wish, because of course it's a noble wish, but the point being that do not allow it to affect your own level of iman in this regard. The fact of the matter being, he said, if you were to be in his time, in the time of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you don't even know whether you would be on the side of his followers or on the side of the opponents of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because it was a very testing time and trying time, not just in terms of the faith, but the overall crisis and the challenges that they were surrounded by. That you would have to abandon your family, abandon your land, abandon pretty much anything and everything. So do not wish something that you are not capable of doing so. Therefore, Allah has protected you against those difficulties and blessed you with something that out of His sheer mercy and bounty, that perhaps was the best for you and saved you from all of these challenges. So, therefore, this is the beauty of our deen, that alhamdulillah we have to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala over it. Allah has rescued us, saved us from all of those struggles that Sahaba Rizwanullahi alayhim ajmeen, they had to go through on their own to arrive at the right conclusion and to see the truth. And therefore, rejecting the message of the messenger, scholars have stated, after the time of the messenger, although it is kufr and it is also clearly kufr, if they are to be the idol worshippers, then they are also further involved in shirk. But it would not be seen as serious kufr, as serious rejection, as in case of a person who had seen the Prophet with his own eye and dealt with him, yet had the daring to reject him. Because with your own eye, when you see something, because the presence of the Prophet in itself is very powerful, let alone the teachings. So, therefore, of all the kuffar, those who actually directly denied and rejected the Prophet ﷺ in his lifetime or any other Prophet's lifetime, they would be seen and treated as the worst of the disbelievers. Because of having this direct connection, yet depriving themselves and denying themselves of the benefit to receive from the powerhouse, the spiritual powerhouse, and the direct guide from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ya Latif. So all of these are the pros and cons that we have to keep in mind, and therefore, like I said, we ask Allah for afiyah. At the same time, whatever Allah has put us in is definitely better for us, whether in terms of deen or in terms of dunya. But we have to always struggle to improve our conditions. We cannot use this as an excuse to not pray, to not to practice the religion, or avoiding the religious dictate, saying, maybe this is the time that Allah has put me in, which is full of challenges, therefore, it's okay to compromise the deen. No. Our job is to constantly prove our sincerity and faithfulness to the faith that we belong to. Otherwise, there is no real test then. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has repeatedly mentioned in the Quran, وَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ, He is going to test us, things one after the other, in different ways and different forms and shape. So this is number one thing. And two is, like I said, because of the beauty of our faith, it has really gained popularity across history, like I said. And therefore, in a very short period of time of Rasulullah ﷺ, the whole of Arabia came under his control and was united and accepted the message of Islam. And within 100 years of time frame, Islam had reached to the three continents of the world. So this is not because of just the proselytizing nature of the religion, but the reality, because even there were, in history, if you see and read the historic accounts, you will find there were Christians for example, in Byzantine Empire, in Roman Empire, who were different, who belonged to different denominations. So when Muslims entered their land, so they joined Muslims to fight against the people of their own faith, and Christianity. Why? Because of the beauty, the honesty, the justice, the fair dealings that they observed from Muslims. They said, we are better off living under your rule and live relatively free than to live under the people of our own faith, but face persecution. So this is another reality that we have. So therefore, this is, alhamdulillah, by the fadl of Allah and the tawfiq of Allah that we are Muslims. But the point that I wanted to bring to our attention, this is one of the reasons that we, alhamdulillah, see in this day and age in societies like it, many people converting to Islam. In the last few days, within 2 to 3 weeks of time, I can say, maybe 6 or 7 individuals at different times have accepted, alhamdulillah, Islam, coming to the Masjid, and some of them are very serious. They discovered the religion on their own by studying about Islam. And they are so interested in the religion, they always have questions about it, and they want to know more about the religion. And they ask me, is there any better book that I could study to understand and improve my knowledge of the deen? And they are, mashallah, coming regularly as well to the Masjid. They come at least once or twice a week because of the commitment that they have. So is the case, in one hand, alhamdulillah, we appreciate their struggle and we welcome them. But there is a prophetic wisdom in dealing with converts. There is a prophetic wisdom in dealing with converts and also in embracing them, helping them to integrate in our society, and also facilitating their journey to mold themselves into the teachings of Islam. And I have noticed at times, when people, mashallah, because we become very overjoyed, which is rightfully so when we see someone, alhamdulillah, accepting Islam. At least I can relate 2 or 3 examples. For example, one time, one sister who accepted Islam, and this is why wisdom and gradual process and change is very important, especially for someone who is new to the faith. You cannot expect overnight, even ourselves, let alone them. We have barely 50% of Islam present in our life. Generally our prayers are there, alhamdulillah, fast, etc. But what about our behavior, our akhlaq, our tijarat, our mu'amalat, all of that, oftentimes they are off the track. Right? So we should not expect a non-Muslim to fully embrace Islam overnight and become 100% Muslim. It's a slow process, a long struggle, especially if a person wants to be raised in this society, because I know that people who ask me questions and the type of struggles they go through to having a generous, sympathetic, easy, and merciful approach is very important. So when the sister who accepted Islam, she happened to meet, I think, with somebody else, I will not mention who, but the point being is the lesson that we need to draw from this. So as she was welcomed and appreciated and supported, at the same time somebody told her that, are you married? She said, yes, and I have 2 children. So the person told her right away that, no, your marriage is over. Your marriage is over, you cannot live with your husband anymore because now you are Muslim and he is not Muslim. I mean, technically speaking, from fiqh point of view, it is true. But is this the way to deal with this situation? Is this how you support someone and comfort someone, invite someone to the religion? She was shocked to hear this. And she said, oh my goodness, I have been living my life for over 10 years, I think so, with this individual. Now I cannot live anymore with him. So she was very much perplexed, and she was even deciding whether or not to continue the journey of Islam. Right? And so the other time, one individual, he called me, I think he was on the public transit. So I knew him, and so these people have genuine interest to study Islam, right? So he asked me that, I came across an ayat in the Quran, which of course one of the problematic verses in terms of its interpretation, that teaches or that deals with the issue of marital dispute and even disciplining the wife, for example, striking the spouses, etc. So then he asked an individual who did not know very well, but of course the ayat is there, but without knowing the proper understanding of the ayat, he said, yes, Islam allows husbands to beat their wives. So this interpretation of this ayat is completely out of the context, and it is not how you explain or understand it, let alone explaining this to a convert in this manner. And that really became a triggering point, even though I spoke to him later on, but somehow it created such a doubt about Islam. Slowly but surely, he literally renounced Islam afterwards. Right? Someone who joined the faith, left the faith, Allah knows what else has contributed to this rejection, but this seemed to me as one of the turning point in a reverse manner for him to go away from the religion. Right? Other times, so when we see a convert, whether in this masjid or anywhere else, the best is that you leave the person in the hand of the imam or someone who is competent in dealing with them properly. Because we become, mashallah, very happy with each and every person becomes like a teacher, teaching him something about Islam. One individual hearing 10 people, 10 different things, he would or she would find it very overwhelming. Right? And this is why I want to share with you this hadith of Rasulullah as a lesson, addressing myself first and foremost. We all are weak. We need to improve ourselves. Right? knowing that your one move, your one words could either draw the person closer to the faith or distance the person from the faith, right? So therefore, there is this hadith of Rasulullah which is in Sahih Bukhari and Muslim both. Talha ibn Ubaydullah radiyallahu anhu says, جاء رجل إلى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. A man came to Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, and Sahaba radiyallahu alayhim ajma'in, they were very muta'addibin, people of excellence, people of manners, people of giving the due right to each and everyone. So in the presence of a Sahabi, in the presence of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, they would not even dare to open their mouth. It is not to speak of myself, astaghfirullah, but I'm saying that sometimes I see people that, it's really, it happened at least more than 3-4 times that I can recall. So I was sitting in a gathering, and there were a few other brothers. So this individual raised a question, and he directed the question to me, but somebody else has started to respond to that question. The person, first and foremost, he did not ask you to reply. And in the presence of an alim, you should not even open your mouth because you have limited knowledge. Maybe the scholar has no knowledge of that matter, right? So these are the basic adab that we should be abiding by to show our discipline to others. So when this individual came, Sahaba radhiyallahu anhum, they welcomed him and received him with honor and respect. And he came in a manner that was very disturbing, disrespectful, because addressing Prophet ﷺ by name even. Right? So the narration says that when he came, the Rasulullah ﷺ was from the people of the Masjid. It was a distant land. And so he was so loud as if the whole Masjid of Rasulullah ﷺ started to echo. Because it was not my bed anywhere, but still he spoke so loud to a point that as if the whole Masjid was shaking by that. And then when I left the Himayah, because of his loud noise, and because of his uncivilized man, we were not able to really understand what he was trying to say. I left the Himayah, حتى دعا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, until he got very close to Prophet ﷺ. And then Islam. And then he started asking about Islam. As he started asking about Islam, there was a period of silence in the majlis. Everybody was paying attention to the discussion in between the Prophet ﷺ and this individual. So what he asked Prophet ﷺ about Islam, about the religion itself. The Prophet ﷺ said to him, the first thing after the faith, Prophet after accepting the faith, he said that you need to be regular on your prayers, 5 daily prayers. He'll give you the later. In 24 hours, there are 5 daily prayers that are followed upon you. Then he himself asked, is there anything more to this? The Prophet said, no, these are the obligations, including Salah Jum'ah, of course. However, if you wish to voluntarily pray extra, it is your choice. But the obligation is just 5. He did not overwhelm him on his own with, for example, sunnah and nafil and wajib, etc., etc. He just said there are 5 daily prayers. But when he asked on his own, he said, yes, you have the choice. If you wish, you can add more nafil prayers. It does not mean that he was disapproving or discouraging the person, recognizing the background, the situation of the person where he is coming from. That is the point. And then he asked about the next thing that Rasulullah then told him about Siyam Ramadan. There is a whole month in a year that a person must observe the fast. After explaining that, he said, is there anything that I should do more on this note? He said, no, except that you wish to observe the nafil fasting, then you can do so. Then he asked about zakat. The Prophet ﷺ himself explained to him, once a year, if someone possesses or owns such certain amount of wealth, he is required to pay 2.5%, for example, zakat. Is there anything beyond that? Rasulullah said, no, except for general donation and charity, etc. So he explained to him just 5 pillars of Islam. Nothing more than that. When he explained to him 5 pillars of Islam, and he asked him again, is there anything that I should add? He said, that is good also wrong. Just the basics. Just the basics. Of course, once he will master this, then there's the next phase. It's not that the journey is over here. It's a lifelong commitment to the faith. Each day is a new day for you to learn something new. But for a person to settle, for a person to adjust his life, we need to facilitate his journey, his transformation into the faith. Easy transition, as we say. Otherwise, he would find it too overwhelming and he would step back. So then Rasulullah subhanahu at the end, the hadith says that أَدْبَرَ الرَّجُلُ, when the person started to return, he came, asked questions, got the answers, Salaam alaikum, started to walk away. أَدْبَرَ الرَّجُلُ وَهُوَ يَقُولُ, and as he returned, he was saying, وَاللَّهِ لَا أَزِيدُ عَلَى غَيْرِ وَلَا أَنْقُصُ مِنْهُ. I swear that whatever I learn today, I am going to abide by it and be regular in it. Neither will I increase anything or decrease from that. Whatever I learned. The Prophet said, when you hear this, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ إِنْ صَبَرَ. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ إِنْ صَبَرَ. If he is true what he said, that I am going to be regular in this, he has succeeded. So this is the prophetic wisdom in dealing with the new individuals, in dealing with the converts. Right? Do not read any biases into it. Sometimes, as one of the scholars said, when they see a new person to the faith, they try to convert this individual into our own version of cultural understanding of Islam. Not necessarily the authentic understanding of Islam, rather, into our own cultural understanding of Islam. Therefore, we put certain additional restrictions on the person that, Islamically speaking, was not done. So it's a very delicate and sensitive job, my dear brothers and sisters. As much it's an honor to serve a new convert and new individuals in our faith, at the same time it's a very delicate responsibility. And for that we need to train ourselves and be better equipped with that. Otherwise we will do, if we do disservice, they will do a great service. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to understand this hadith and the prophetic wisdom in this regard, and may it improve our own approach to our deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a manner that is befitting to the teachings of Islam. Amin. Amin. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, wa ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, wa nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun, wa salamun ala al-mursalin, walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.